Hello everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Today we'll be discussing and breaking down the movie 2012. Just finished watching it. This is one that I'd seen before. Remembered most of it, but just kind of running out of stuff to click on Hulu or on Prime Video. You know how we do it. I'll read you the overview as provided by Google, along with any just minor logistics about the movie, other rating platforms, and then I'll give you my grade and what's overall impressions and grade. Then after that, if you've not seen the movie and would like to, based or not based on my recommendation, you're going to shut off the video because there will be spoiler alerts. So we have, it was released in 2009, action sci-fi, 2 hours and 38 minutes, currently available on Hulu with a regular subscription. Earth's billions of inhabitants are unaware that the planet has an expiration date. With the warnings of an American scientist, world leaders begin secret preparations for the survival of select members of society. When the global cataclysm finally occurs, failed writer Jackson Curtis, played by John Cusack, tries to lead his family to safety as the world starts falling apart. Released in 2009, November 13th. Budget of $200 million and box office of $791.2 million. So pretty good return on investment there. We got 2.5 out of Common Sense something, which I don't know what that is. 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. 77% liked it on Google, and 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Overall, again, I really like the action sci-fi flicks. Again, even more so than sci-fi, just cataclysms, the apocalypses, just that. When society starts breaking down, I always think it provides a rich script. A lot of drawn-out action sequences in this. I thought could definitely been a shorter movie with the same punch. I did like it. I'll give it a B overall. And I like the genre. I like John Cusack. Similar movies now. Again, I always compare this one to The Day After Tomorrow, which I like better than this one. So I think Day After Tomorrow is going to get like an A or A minus. So that's B. I definitely find it entertaining. That was definitely a little long. A little bit, and the action sequences were a little drawn out. You could have been told the same story with the same punch with less. 3 minutes less on this scene, 3 minutes less on this scene, and you're back to a barely over a 2-hour movie. But regardless, I enjoyed it. I didn't think the acting was super convincing, but I just liked an action-adventure sci-fi flick. Which again, I don't really label this sci-fi, more just like cataclysms. I mean, that's certainly not science fiction. Right? But regardless, that's what I thought of it, and now we'll be breaking down the plot synopsis. So if you've not watched the movie and like to, you want to shut off the video now. So the movie opens up. I'm not exactly sure what's the opening scene. But regardless, you have Jackson Curtis, who's like a failed writer. He's published one book that sold less than 500 copies. He's got a family. He's got an ex-wife, Kate Curtis, who's got a current boyfriend, which I couldn't find the character's name on the cast list. Classic Google. They have a daughter, Lily, a son, Noah, and that's really the setup. And Kate's boyfriend is a plastic surgeon. So you open up and I guess kind of the opening scenes is, it starts off in 2009, and you have this Indian scientist, astrophysicist, who has his friend and colleague, Dr. Adrian Hemsley, come and just notice some data. So the science behind this one is the neutrinos. The sun has now emitted a ton of neutrinos that are going to interact with water and cause the destabilization of the Earth's crust. And so they establish that pretty much the opening scenes, and so now they have this plan to build these big ships and to prepare for a cataclysm in 3 to 4 years. And so Adrian Hemsley, he's the guy that gets the data. He approaches, I think it's Oleg, again another character I can't exactly match to the cast list, but he goes to some senior White House advisor or something that has direct access to the president. I think it's President Thomas. Again, the character cuts off of THO, so I'm thinking it's Thomas, but whoever the president is in the movie. And so Adrian takes the data to Oleg. Oleg's like, they're at this fundraiser. It's like wanting nothing to do with Adrian. And once he sees Adrian's data, he's like, we're going to meet the president right away. And so then after that, you get a flash forward scene to like 2010 maybe. And there's the two French people, and they're basically, replacing the Mona Lisa to store it for these big ships or arcs that they're going to build and replace it with a replica. And then the head of the Louvre wants to disclose what's actually going on, and he gets killed. And so it's kind of like the next couple scenes, and then you get back kind of to like the main characters. There's a lot of main characters in this one. but Jackson Curtis is going to take his son and daughter to Yellowstone National Park for camping. And so, your typical, Noah's probably, 12, Lily's probably like 7. So Noah's got an affinity. He likes Kate's boyfriend more so than his dad, which he calls him by his first name, Jackson. And so, kids camping trip where the dad wants to bond and the kids aren't really into it, and they're just worried he's going to be typing on his computer the whole time working on his next book. So they go camping at Yellowstone. They climb over a fence, and they get escorted out by Adrian Hemsley, who's recognized as Jackson's book. And he's nice to them, and then they finish their camping in an unrestricted area. Basically, Jackson wants to take them to a place where him and Kate had been in the past, and the lake had dried up, and it is now a restricted area. And so Jackson's camping, and he meets this guy, Charlie Frost, who's played by, what's his name? Definitely a well-known actor. He is played by, Woody Harrelson. And so Woody Harrelson's this eccentric, doomsday prepper. He's got his own little radio show. He talks about the end of the world coming. And in 2012, I guess major theme is the ending of the Mayan calendar, which is almost certainly just like the ending of a TV show. They just ran out of stuff to write down. There's no historical anything. I did graduate in 2012, but I've been doing scientific research my whole life, so it's not like, not to me, but just in general, the Mayan calendar is just what coincidence as you get just like a TV show running out of seasons, where we're out of months or out of predictions or out of the calendar. So certainly nothing in terms of like predictive whatevers. But regardless, that's kind of like the theme of the movie as to why the cataclysm or the apocalypse is coming is because the end of the Mayan calendar, blah blah blah. And so Jackson's camping, and it turns out that Charlie's like in like a camper. They just have like tents, but Charlie's in like an RV, and he's broadcasting from not too far. And Jackson hears the guy's broadcasting. So he goes, talks to him for a little bit. Again, still very off-put, like clearly crazy, but he's saying some stuff where it's like interesting enough to Jackson to listen. And so that's pretty much what happens there. They share a couple beers, and then the next day there's this big. Kate and her boyfriend are at the grocery store, and there's this big fissure in the tectonic plates. Just a big sinkhole or crack line, fault line opens up and tears through this supermarket. Pretty cheesy scene. Kate and her boyfriend are holding hands, and they're like, nothing can tear us apart. And then a fault line cracks literally right between where they're holding hands. It's like, okay. But that happens, and so now Kate's kind of shook, and she calls Jackson. And it's like, hey, bring the kids home. I'm assuming it's because of the traumatic event. She wants to be with her kids. So they come back from the camping trip early. So Jackson is also a driver, it seems to be, for this billionaire named Yuri. He's got 2 twin sons. He's got a girlfriend named Tamara. And so he drives to go pick up these kids, or Yuri wants him to bring these kids to him. And Yuri goes to this boxing match, and he gets this he's a billionaire, he's paid $1 billion for a ticket on one of these ships, and he gets notice at this boxing match that it's time to start the boarding process or something. So he leaves there, and he's like, I want my kids to be brought to me, and again, I don't know if I'm going to get this directly in order, but he has Jackson as the driver, and the kids are dickheads to Jackson, and so one of the kids, they're kind of like, Jackson's kind of being a dick to them, they're being a dick to him, he's loading their luggage, accidentally steps on their foot, stuff like that, and then one of the kids is like, we have tickets to be on this big ship, and you're going to die, and we won't. And that's kind of something, a direct reference to something that Charlie Frost had said to him at Yellowstone, so now he's kind of thinking of, what's going on. And then after that, he kind of, puts together, it's an actual real thing, and, they're trying to, on the news, they're downplaying, how much earthquake activity is happening in, I believe it starts out in Northern California. Again, they have to be close enough to Yellowstone to get there in a couple 30 minutes or something. So maybe Northern California, I don't know if that's even close enough. But regardless, that's what's occurring. And so Jackson calls Kate and the kids and the boyfriend. They're eating breakfast. They're Noah's kind of like, I don't like Jackson, and the boyfriend's, kind of like smirking, like haha, or not haha, but just like that's just kind of character relationships. And so they think kind of Jackson's kind of crazy. But he calls Kate all frantic. He's like, you have to do this. And she's like, no. And then a big earthquake hits them right as they're eating breakfast. So Jackson comes by. They're in a limo, picks up Kate, Lily, Noah, and I keep forgetting Kate's boyfriend's name. But Kate's boyfriend And now that again, a big, long, drawn-out scene of them driving a limo through again, the roads cracking in, that houses are falling down, things are exploding, big action, barely making it out of the nick of time, which I thought was a little overdone in this movie. But regardless, I like the genre, I like the plot development. So they get out of there and they have Jackson had hired a pilot to fly. And when they get back they go to an airfield, and when they get to the airfield, the pilot is dead. And so they take the plane. Kate's boyfriend's had a couple pilot lessons, so he's not a real pilot or certified, but he's been enough to be like, you're our only shot, let's go. So they get into the plane, again, another dramatic scene of like the Earth's falling down, and they barely get off the runway as the Earth's colliding, and they're flying through buildings. A little overdone in terms of the production on that, but did well at the box office. And so they get out there, and Jackson's like, we need to go back to Yellowstone to find Charlie to get this map. He had referenced some map as to where these ships are located. And so they fly and they land somewhere close to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or Yellowstone, excuse me, not Wyoming, Yellowstone. Is that in Wyoming? I don't know. It's not Jackson Hole, though. Regardless. So they stop to refuel, and Jackson is going to go find Charlie to get this map. So he finds Charlie, and Charlie's just fully embracing the death of the cataclysm. Fireballs are raining. They're talking for a little bit, then another big earthquake, or the Yellowstone just kind of blows up or something. But Charlie doesn't want to go with Jackson. He's just going to stay and broadcast, so he gets taken out. He gets taken out pretty quickly after that. Jackson finds the trailer, and he has his daughter with him at this point. And so they're driving back. They're driving through, again, a big hailstorm of fireballs flying down. Hits the back of the trailer. Doesn't kill him. Big dramatic scene. Jackson, Kate, and Noah are about to take off because they're not sure if they're still alive. They see the trailer coming. They're all excited. And then they park, and then Jackson has to frantically find this map. And right as the plane's taking off, the ground is falling out beneath them. The trailer starts to fall. And then you can just see Jackson's hands miraculously get back up with the map and runs up and gets us onto the plane. Another takeoff scene where they barely get off the runway, but now they have the map. They're all safe, and the world's definitely going to shit at this point, and they have to figure out where they need to go. And so they open the map, and it's China. And so they're going to need a bigger plane. They don't have enough fuel to get there. And so I forget if they know where to go, if they just happen to land, happenstance land in the same place where Yuri's at again. But they land in some place. And at this point, all of the military people are evacuating. You have some scenes with, again, Adrian Hemsley, the lead scientist. His dad is on a cruise ship, and he's told him what's happening. His name is Harry. You have President Thomas, they're all getting ready to evacuate. Laura Wilson's his daughter. And yeah, it's just getting basically the setup. And there's plenty of minors and extras in this movie. And so they're all gearing up to get on this big ship, or these big arcs. There's like 6 or 7 of them. And Jackson and his family and Kate's boyfriend land at this place where Yuri's at. And there's a bunch of chaos going on. They're supposed to stay inside or whatever. And Yuri has one pilot, but not a co-pilot. And so Jackson's like, Kate's boyfriend's a pilot. So then him, Kate's boyfriend, Yuri, Sasha, Yuri's pilot, and then the Curtises all get on this much bigger plane owned by Yuri, and then they start to fly to China. So you have some intermittent scenes where Kate is talking with Yuri's girlfriend Tamara. Yuri had Tamara get a boob job, and that's how Tamara knew Kate's boyfriend, because he's a plastic surgeon and does the boobies. And now they're flying to China. And so at which point the President Thomas, he decides that he's not going to get on the Ark, along with the Prime Minister of Italy, but he's going to stay down and go down with the ship. And so that happens, and they're flying to China, and then they realize they're not going to have enough fuel to get there. And so during this point, shit's hitting the fan all over in terms of natural disasters. And so the poles have shifted, the latitudes and longitudes of different land masses, and the sea has shifted. So they think they're going to land in the ocean, and then they realize they can't. And they're just on solid, they're kind of like in Tibet area. And so you also have I didn't have his name up here. Tenzin, he's in Tibet, and his brother's he works on these things where he's building these ships, and has a plan to get his family on once they get there. So you have some other scenes with Tibet as well. Regardless, they have to make an emergency landing because they're out of fuel, the engines are gone, and Sasha is the lead pilot, and they just have like a strip of ice that they're going to try to land on. And so Yuri has a bunch of luxury cars in the hangar of the plane, and so they all get into a Bentley and kind of like lower just like a military plane would have, lower the back where they could like jump out for like parachuting, but they kind of reverse a car out of the back of the plane, and so they're all safe from that. And Sasha tries to land the plane. Right as it gets there, like again going off the edge, his plane kind of stops right on the edge. Think he's safe, and then the ice gives out, he tips over, he's gone. The Sasha's now dead. Yuri, Tamara, their little dog, the two sons of Yuri, and the Curtises and her boyfriend, and Kate's boyfriend, are all going to try to just catch up and meet up with before the ships take off. And so some Chinese helicopters go by, they signal to them, they come down, and then they're only taking people that had bought tickets. And so Yuri has 3 tickets for him and his sons. Not even for Tamara. He's like, you don't think I knew you were banging Sasha? And just takes his 2 sons and gets on these Chinese helicopters to go to these big arcs. And so now you have the Curtises, Tamara, and Kate's boyfriend all kind of left out in the cold. At the same time, Tenzin and his brother and his grandparents are being driven. Some monk had given Tenzin this truck, and now Tenzin's driving, and he picks them up. And Tenzin's brother's like, no, we can't fit them in the plane. Our plan won't work. And the grandmother's like, we're all children of the earth, so we're going to help them all. And so now their plan is to sneak onto the ship through like one of these ports, just like a port on the ship that Tenzin had been working on. And so at which point they're all trying to frantically load up these arcs or these ships. And the time before, because basically what happens is you have the crust destabilize and then a bunch of tsunamis. And so now they're bracing the earthquakes and destabilizations happen. Now they're trying to get everyone ready before the tsunamis hit. And so because it speeds up the timeline, because there's another massive wave. Again, Adrian Hemsley's father, Harry Hemsley, is like a singer on a cruise ship. They have one final phone call because they know it's going to be the end. So Harry has died, and Adrian's aware of a big tidal wave coming in, and it's bigger than they thought or expected, and it's sped up their timeline. And so they're in the process of loading all of these people onto these big arcs, and then because President Thomas decides to stay back, the Speaker of the House decides to stay back, so they're like the reigning authority for at least the U.S., but again, like all of the national borders are kind of breaking down, is the Oleg guy. And so also, the friend of Adrian Hemsley who figured all this stuff out, the Indian guy, he was too late. He was supposed to get airlifted out, and nobody showed up. And so him and his family are just standing there looking at this humongous tsunami wave, preparing just to take the death. And so Harry's cruise ship tips over, as well as Adrian's Indian friend who discovered all this is now dead. And so they try to. Oleg has a vote amongst the world leaders, and it's like, we're going to close the ships early because we have to brace for impact sooner. And so before all these people who've paid for tickets or are heads of state or important geneticists, they say they have, they pick the most genetic apt people to help repopulate. And so they do that, but because they go to shut the gates early, Tenzin gets injured, Jackson gets kind of left behind, but a big rope or a big metal cord gets tangled in these gears of this huge ship that has to close. And so because the cord gets tangled, they can't close the back of the ship in time, and they can't start the engines because it's not sealed. And so drawn out a scene there. I don't say really drawn out for that one. Again, the escaping scenes are pretty drawn out. But Jackson, he's in this bottom. He has some communication with Adrian Hemsley. He's like, I can go back and try to get this cable undone. And before this, Yuri had to throw his kids up there. So Yuri has fallen off this big cliff and died. And so Jackson goes back, and his son's supposed to stay with the mom or in safety and relative safety. And Jackson's pretty much, it's a suicide mission. Do it for the good of humanity. But Noah decides he wants to help, so they go back. Jackson and Noah find a way, and they untangle the cord that's jamming up the gears. And so they do that. In the same kind of scenes, Kate's boyfriend dies. He gets chewed up by the gears. He can't escape. And Jackson and Noah undo the thing. The gate gets sealed, and now they're about to smash into Mount Everest, which would kill everybody on the ark or the ship. And so, just in the nick of time, they seal the port, and they're able to turn on their engines and go in reverse. And so, big celebration. Everyone survived. Tenzin's injured. Tamara survives. I think we got all the people that get knocked off. But President Thomas is dead by now. But now they have some relative safety, and they're all cheering, they're all excited. And so you have like a 28-day period pass, and then they say, the air quality is good enough. Some of the water has retreated from Africa faster than we thought, so there's some visible land, and we're heading towards Africa now, and we're going to open the gates. Meaning just like the gates so people can go outside, they haven't seen fresh air or the day of light and light of day in 28 days. And so they do that. Jackson and Kate seem to be a little back together, or at least, bonding through trauma. And at which point, Laura and Adrian, Adrian's reading a book, and they kiss a little bit, and now they're a little couple. And whoever played Laura Wilson was a cutie. So that's pretty much what happens, and then that's really the resolution of the movie. Is they have these big arcs that have been saved, and now they're going to go repopulate and start over somewhere in Africa. So overall, again, I thought it was entertaining. Again, I like this genre. 2 hours and 40 minutes was long. It definitely could have been done in 2 hours. Again, the escape scenes were a little dramatic for me. Ton of animations and CGI. I thought John Cusack did all right, or did a good job. Some of the acting scenes was a little just dull, but again, I just like the genre. And so, definitely a movie I liked, and $791 on $200 million budget seemed to be pretty profitable. So, that's what I thought of the movie 2012. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. I guess major themes. Major themes. Large-scale government conspiracy to snuff out things where tens of thousands of people are involved and no one says a fucking thing. Yeah, I'm living it right now today. And so, would world governments... But I said I did like the commentary of this one, because the morality is just not clear. It's like, a lot of people be like... Because at the end, Adrian gives the motivational speech that reopened the gates to let all of these people back in, and it's just like, in reality, you would try to preserve the species, and a natural disaster is not anything one person can prevent. And so I just think the morality of when society breaks down is a rich plot to write on. And so, again, you would say the species major themes of, extreme morality of kumbaya, or just like, more of kind of what Oleg articulates would definitely be more of the realistic approach. But good entertainment overall. But again, large-scale good government conspiracy, happening every minute of every day, and nobody gives a single fuck, because as long as they can blow up their own buildings and kill their own fucking kids and say, not my responsibility, because they're pathetic, fat fucking trash, they're going to continue to do so. So again, I will never live a minute of my life because of large-scale government conspiracy, and they just can't do their jobs because they like to kill kids. And so, that's the reality. It's like, in these movies, it's like, we're going to fight for the survival of the species, we're going to fight for everybody. In reality, no one will do dick fucking anything to do anything past their basic job responsibilities, and even if it is their job responsibilities, they won't do that. And so, just a bunch of selfish people, free-for-all, running around, and society is so fucking privileged that nobody has the capacity for morality, the capacity to help one another, the capacity to do their job, the capacity to stop torturing me. Doesn't even exist. I will be tortured until the day that I die, because people want to doll us down alive. I'm a human being that exists in this fucking world. But if I ever become somebody, every bit of influence I will, treason is death, no exception whatsoever. Racketeering, conspiracy, and fraud at this level, I still want the death penalty, if not life in jail. So, it's going to be an absolute fucking shit show. If it doesn't, there's no exceptions. I don't care if they fucking kill me, I don't fucking care. Human beings are fucking disgusting. And the frank thing is that we could use a purge. We could absolutely use a fucking purge. So I'm rooting for a natural disaster. Big fucking global natural catastrophe. Wipe out all the fucking stupid people. Because if they actually had to face real life decision making, they would actually grow up. And people actually can't grow up because no one knows how to fucking behave. Scoot through life in your privileged little bullshit fucking worlds as I fucking suffer and write science for the rest of eternity. Appreciate it, guys. Without any money, any time frame. Just constant fucking misery every 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. Pure denigration and disrespect until the day that I'm fucking dead. So I'm rooting for a fucking global natural disaster and just wipe the fuck out of this fucking species. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.